Drue, obviously, this is your first Super Bowl. This is why you wanted to come play for the Chiefs. From what you posted, Coach Reid had been texting you. It's all kind of come true. Can you just kind of encapsulate what this has been like for you down the stretch here?
It's been a whirlwind. You dream of this as a kid. You want to play in this game. This is the pinnacle of the football world, the biggest game and the biggest league in the world. And so to look back on that text from Coach Reid, it's something to laugh about, but it's crazy. It's been a long 8 months, or I guess 10 months since that moment. But we've put a lot of hard work in, and we're super excited for this opportunity.
How much of a deeper appreciation do you think you personally might have for being here, just considering you were in the division against them for so many years?
Yeah, it's incredible what this organization's been able to do when you talk about stacking years on top of one another. We felt it early in the season. Like, when you're the defending champs, like, you're getting everyone's best every single week. I know when we played the Chiefs, when I was at the Chargers, it was like we were ready for that game, and you circle that game, and you want that game. And to see what Coach Reid and Brett Veach, you talk about our ownership, Clark Hunt, and everybody in those decision-making roles, and our coaching staff and the players, to be able to do it year after year after year is tough. It's really, really hard. And to be a part of that this year is an experience and something I'll never forget.
What have you just noticed about the way this organization responds to losing?
Can you repeat that?
What have you noticed just about the way the organization responds to losing a game?
Yeah, I mean, winning is the goal in this organization. And when you lose, there's a very specific way we go about winning and losing. And it's the same week in and week out. It doesn't matter if it's the preseason, the regular season, or the postseason. The methods for how we deal with and correct and make corrections is really sound here. And they've got tested methods that have worked. And I think that's one of the biggest things I take away is, you look at the postseason and all the excitement and hype that comes with that. Like, as a player, it hasn't felt any different for me from the regular season. I think our coaching staff has done such a good job of keeping our routines, our practice habits, our meetings the exact same. And so preparation, just you kind of stay in your flow. And so they've done a good job, whether we win or lose in that regard.
Drue, Travis Kelce seemed particularly pumped up last week.
Yeah.
Before the game afterwards. I know you're not on the field at the same time. What does his energy do for you when you see him that way?
Well, I think you have to have tremendous leaders, especially at the player level, to win in this league, and that's anywhere. That's business, that's sports. And so Coach Reid kept trying to talk to our team, whether it was before the game or halftime, and Travis would just cut him off with a big yell, and he'd say, "Yeah, that sounds about right. Let's go." And he does that for our team, and we're very thankful to have him.
You learned anything about him after a few months now as a teammate that maybe you didn't know from playing against him?
When the tough gets going, he's ready. In the wise words of Marshawn Lynch, he's about that action, and he brings it each and every week and turns it on, especially when the lights are bright.
Is he pretty irritating to play against?
He's just hard to play against. He's super challenging. He's unconventional in what he does. His body movements, the way he's able to get open, whether it's man or zone. He just presents a lot of challenges. He's big, got a big catch radius. And so it makes defending him very challenging, both as a player and probably as a coordinator as well.
Speaking of guys that are challenging, what impresses you about the ways that they deploy Christian McCaffrey?
Yeah.
Using the slot as well as in the running game, everything they do.
Yeah, Christian's as dynamic of a back as there is in the National Football League. People would say he's not the biggest, but he runs with incredible power. It's very evident if you throw on the tape. He's running guys over. His stiff arm is vicious. He's a weapon in the passing game. He can run the route tree. He's elusive in space. Like I mentioned, powerful at the point of contact. And so he's going to be a big challenge for us to stop.
Did you know much about Charles Omenihu and Mike Edwards?
I didn't know much about him at all prior to coming here, and I've really enjoyed being teammates with him.
With that, what's it like when you have three guys who are obviously talented in their own right, but they're trying to make the championship defense better?
I think it speaks to this organization and the quest that they're on. Bringing in good players, whether it's through the draft or free agency. And Brett Veach is one of the best at doing that. And, you know, Charles, Mike, and myself, and all of our other free agent acquisitions, and guys like Mike Pinnell, who we've brought on, you know, mid-season, and, you know, drafted guys. I think everybody's kind of bought in to the championship culture here and what Coach Reed sets forth, and what they preach on a week-to-week basis. But, you know, you just try to come in and develop a role for yourself and do the best you can. And at the end of the day, everything's about winning. And they emphasize that week after week, meeting after meeting. And so whether your role is big or small or medium, like, you feel valuable and important when you're here.
If I could, I know you're focusing on the 49ers, but
Yeah.
if it was a flight over or the next day, did you watch the play of Lamar catching his own pass and the fact that he had what appeared to be a lot of open grass?
Yeah.
What was your experience, I guess, rewatching that play?
Yeah, it was such a strange play. And watching it on tape, like, you go back in your head, like, to being on the field. And I just remember coming on the blitz. We had a zero pressure called, and Justin's free off the edge. And you hear a loud thud, and that typically means the ball is somewhere bad in the air. And so you're looking for it. And then all of a sudden, I just see a flash of purple go by my left eye. And I see Justin running too. I'm like, what is happening right now? And my wife last night, she's like, why were you jogging at first? I'm like, because I didn't know where the ball was or what was going on. She's like, shouldn't you be running full speed? And I'm like, yeah, probably. But I had to find the ball. I didn't know what was going on. And I finally see Lamar catch it, and I'm like, man, I got to get this guy down. And so I just tried to accelerate and got him. Man, he's such a good player.
Drew, just, you know, there's a lot of talk about, you know, Chiefs being underdogs this season, but, you know, kind of you as well taking that villain role. You know, you kind of have a squeaky clean image, but, you know, with Buffalo and then kind of some, you know, that football aggression kind of comes out of you. Has that always been in you, or is that just something that kind of just rose out of you late in the season?
Yeah, I have when I train back home with my trainer, Scott Prohaska, we talk about like an alter ego, and I feel like you have to have that a little bit. Like, you know, I feel like I'm a family man, like, first. Like, obviously, I got married to my high school sweetheart, and we have 3 kids. And there's a little bit more of a gentle spirit that you have to take on when you're in the house, but that spirit doesn't work when you're between the white lines. And so we say, I'm Clark Kent, but I got to play like Superman. And so when it's between the white lines, and certainly in the moments after the game, you're kind of in that headspace where you're looking to dominate the guy across from you. And it's fun bantering back and forth with the fans and getting everybody excited. I mean, it's football. It's one of the greatest sports, the greatest sport in the world, and just trying to have fun with it.
Does your family see that and kind of be like, whoa, we didn't like this, kind of surprise us, or have they seen this just kind of throughout your whole career?
Yeah, they'll ask me. I'll get in the family group chat after the game. They'll be like, "What were you saying to that guy? It looks like you're trash talk. You really trash talk?" And I'm like, "Oh, I try to. I don't know how good I am at it, but yeah."
Speaking of family, like, you had your family out there after the game. Can you just walk us through that?
Yeah, it was awesome. My wife Jackie, my son Elijah, our oldest, and then my brother-in-law Henry. We're all there, and it was a really cool moment to be able to be on the field. And my son brought his Chiefs ball in there. We were able to throw that around a little bit, but you know, those are the moments you think of and dream of, and they're always better than you could ever dream of.
3 more. Go ahead.
Just kind of go back to PJ's question where you're talking about having that alter ego. Is that a little bit of an identity for this defense? Because I think we see that from Justin Reed, we see that from Trent McDuffie, we see that from L'Jarius Sneed, some of those guys too, where they're pretty gentle, even in L'Jarius' case, fairly quiet off the field, but got some dog in them once they get between those lines.
Yeah, we just want to be a ton of dogs out there. Lamar said, I think, a few times this year, like we just want to play ball, and I think that's when this defense, when it comes down to it, like, we just want to play ball. Like, we want to get after it. We really believe in our leader, Spags, and the coaches that he has in place. And there's sometimes in football, you know, whether it's been high school, college, or professional level, where you're just like not sure about a game plan. Like, that has not happened this year one time. Like, when we go into a game, we're like, this is going to work, and we just have to execute. And it's exciting to go out there. We got a really good group of guys.
Sorry.
I know here the reputation's always been kind of offensive, but when you have a Patrick Mahomes and even the last stop with Justin Herbert, that can take a lot of the oxygen in the room. The defense has really emerged this year. I'm curious, did you feel a moment where, you guys were the story in this last game, did you feel a moment where that confidence was there, and does it build on itself as you go? And you start to realize how good you guys are as a unit?
Yeah, I think a big moment for us this season was our Germany game versus Miami. I mean, Miami was They put up 70 or 73 points on the Broncos. They were the #1 offense in the NFL by a mile. And you look what we did in that first half, shutting them out. They had a couple big plays in the second half. But I think, we knew we had something special. And to go out there and get that done on an unconventional week in Germany where your sleep schedule's off, like we knew we had some dogs. And we knew we knew we could do something special. And we talk about it all the time. Spags talks about it. It's like, you can't look in the rearview mirror. Like what we did to Baltimore last week does not matter if we don't show up next Sunday or 2 Sundays from now versus the 49ers, who are a terrific offense led by Kyle Shanahan. So it's another opportunity, man, and we're certainly looking forward to it.
I'm sure everybody wants the easy way through the postseason. That's why you play the regular season, right? To try to get the number 1 seed. But you guys will play the hardest possible road for a number 3 seed. Is there an appreciation for taking the rocky road and having to face a 6 seed that could have been a 2, and a 2 seed, and a 1 seed, and a 1 seed?
Yeah, my son and my daughter, they go to preschool, and they had a little parade we have a couple players that have kids that go there, and we were talking to the kids yesterday at the parade, and just thinking back on the postseason run we've had so far. It's like we beat Miami. Everybody was kind of counting us out there, thought Miami would come in and get the job done. Buffalo, certainly the story. They thought us going on the road wasn't going to happen, and then, nobody gave us a chance against the Ravens. Ravens were playing great ball. We have an unbelievable test in front of us against the 49ers. But I think when you play good football teams and you come out on top and you're able to kind of build some momentum, like it calluses you a little bit. Like it's going to be a tough, hard fight. Any good game against 2 opponents is. And I think, we're building up that callus to go win this thing.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.